are going to go to Fort Lauderdale, where they're having a press conference about our schools there. Let's listen in.
Joining for this very important news conference this afternoon. Across our district, we are taking steps to prepare for the impact of the coronavirus in our school communities. Our goal is always to take whatever steps are necessary to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of our students and staff. For the latest on the many measures we are implementing, please make sure to reference www.browardschools.com/coronavirus. Please use that as your primary source of information, as there are many other sources of information which are producing inaccurate information. And with that, I want to turn the microphone over to our superintendent, Mr. Robert Runcie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I appreciate the media being here and helping us to get this information out to our community so that everyone is informed. The health and well-being of our students is our top priority, and we continue to work to make sure that our communities are updated and that we provide appropriate information. We continue to monitor the coronavirus and utilizing the guidance from the Center of Disease Control and the Florida Department of Health. We will continue to provide a response to this emerging public health threat. I know there have been credible reports. There have been non-credible reports, as Ms. Korn just mentioned to you, that have been circulating on social media. So as of now, I just want to emphasize to everyone in the public that we have not been informed of any cases of coronavirus for any student or staff member in Broward County schools as of this moment. And I say as of this moment because things are changing very quickly and rapidly as we deal with it. But I can tell you right now, at this moment, we don't have any confirmed cases. There was a situation at a school where a student was out for a number of days. That student was tested, and the test came back negative. So at this point, we don't have any particular cases. The other thing I want to stress for the public is that Broward schools are not scheduled to be closed. Again, Broward schools are not scheduled to be closed. While, again, information is changing day to day, schools will remain open unless we announce otherwise. And our goal is to keep our schools open as long as possible while making sure that we're prioritizing the safety of our students and our staff. Should schools have to close, we have a number of measures that we put in place. One is we want to ensure that we're able to address some of the health and well-being needs of our students. So we will work to ensure that we can provide meals to students, especially those who depend on the district to be able to receive meals each and every day. We also have plans in place to provide learning continuity. That involves being able to provide lesson packets and lesson plans and project-based learning activities that can be done at home. We also have a plethora of digital resources, including our textbooks and things that we have online that we will make available so our students, teachers can have access to that. We also have a learning management system that's used widely throughout the district called Canvas. And then finally, we have Broward Virtual University. We currently have over 9,300 students who use that for some type of online learning. We would scale that up and make that as another resource that's available. So we'll do everything we can to make sure that we've got continuity in learning. We've got continuity in some of our key programs we know our students and families depend on, including the distribution of meals. And Broward County Schools continues to follow its recently updated emergency pandemic response plan. We're constantly updating that as we get guidance from Center for Disease Control, the Health Department. We're actually in collaboration with other districts around the state. I've been doing a daily call with our superintendents, also involving our Commissioner of Education. We're also reaching out to other districts across the country who've had some significant impacts. We have something, I believe, scheduled to have some conversations with folks in the Seattle area as well. But we're continuing to make more and more actions, and I just want to update you on some of those. So we've got some updates around travel, but I'm going to review some of the travel points that we've put out before, so we're clear about that. So first, on all international travel, as we well announced, we've canceled all of that. All approved out-of-state travel has also been suspended until further notice. So no one's traveling out-of-state on anything that's district-sponsored. And then effective Monday, this coming Monday, March 16th, all travel within the state, including academic, athletic, extracurricular, is suspended. So I repeat, all activities, all travel activities within the state, effective this coming Monday, has been suspended. All students and employees traveling voluntarily to a Level 3 travel health notice area as identified by the Center for Disease Control, and they continue to update their list, upon their return, they must self-report and self-isolate for 14 days before coming back to any school or any district department. We have a self-isolation form that is now on the district's website, as Ms. Korn had indicated. That's browardschools.com/coronavirus. So again, we have a self-reporting form there that we are providing, and we want folks to be able to fill that out. We ask that all students, teachers, and staff who must self-isolate fill out this form to help us mitigate, prepare, and detect any potential scenarios that may occur regarding the coronavirus. Now I'm going to address the district's new ongoing preventative measures, and these are things that we have implemented over the last week or so, and we continue to build on. We are conducting extra cleaning in high-frequency contact areas with a germicidal disinfectant, and that includes covering restrooms, doorknobs and doors, countertops, drinking fountains, sinks. We're ensuring schools and district departments are adequately stocked with supplies, hygiene supplies, soap, hand sanitizers, and towels. I occasionally have gotten a report here and there that some dispenser may be out of soap. In some cases, that's a good thing. That means folks are washing their hands, so we're continuing to press up on our schools that they are checking dispensers regularly to make sure that they're fully stocked, and that we continue to practice hygiene at the highest level we can in our schools. We're sharing information with students, parents, guardians, and employees about hand washing practices and the use of alcohol-based sanitizers and cough and sneeze etiquette. Additionally, informational posters were placed in strategic areas. You'll see them by bathrooms, cafeterias, front offices, classrooms, health clinics, employee lounges. We're trying to make sure it's everywhere. You just basically can't go anywhere without seeing a poster, an information source on coronavirus and precautions that you need to take. We're also continuing to make sure that we effective immediately any student who comes to a school and they're presenting flu-like symptoms, they will be isolated to a designated area of the school, and they will remain in that isolated designated area until a parent or guardian arrives to take them home. The student will not be permitted to return to school until he or she is medically cleared or the student no longer presents symptoms for 3 consecutive days. And again, regarding absences, all days absent will be excused, and students will be provided opportunities to continue their education from home through a variety of the resources that I mentioned earlier. Any employee who comes to work and is presenting flu-like symptoms that are confirmed by a manager or supervisor, they will be sent home and asked to practice social distancing until the individual is medically cleared or no longer has symptoms for 3 consecutive days. In the event that there is a confirmed case of coronavirus involving a student or a staff member, the impacted student or employee must follow the guidance of CDC, our health department, and self-isolate and not return to school or work until they receive medical clearance. If a confirmed case of coronavirus is detected, the district will make sure that we notify all our parents, all our stakeholders, everyone in that community that's connected to the school that's impacted, and we'll assess the impact by looking at a variety of factors such as the areas of the school, the student or staff member has been in contact with, identifying whether they have siblings, what transportation they utilize, what routes they're on, so we can determine the scope of what we have to do for addressing the issue. We will then implement viral disinfected protocols for impacted areas of the school. So essentially doing a real deep cleaning with some strong agents out there to make sure that we can kill any residue of virus that may be there. All days absent by students for self-isolation will be excused, and students will be provided the opportunity again to continue their education. As far as athletics and extracurricular activities, and key date to remember again, Monday, March 16th. From that period on, all athletic and extracurricular activities will be suspended until further notice. So that's throughout the entire district. This includes all practices, meetings, trainings, competitions, on and off campus activities, and all related travel in and out of Broward County. The elections on Tuesday, I just want to provide some comments on that because we've had some questions on that. So Governor DeSantis has advised that primary elections will still take place on Tuesday, March 17th. The way we actually hold elections at polling places in our schools, they are in isolated, restricted areas. Those polling areas will be sanitized prior to students returning to school. So we're going to make sure that we work through all that as well. Again, as Ms. Korn had indicated, and I want to reiterate, we want our community to continue to go to browardschools.com/coronavirus to get accurate information. Please do not rely on just social media or some of these other sources that are out there. We've seen a lot of erroneous information that has recently popped up. They'll take images and text and make it look pretty real. But please come to our website to get updated information. We'll provide updated information on a regular basis as this situation continues to develop. So with that said, I will open it up for any questions.
Mr. Rossi, are you able to get all of the cleaning supplies that the school district needs with 320 plus buildings? Is that something that's been stockpiled?
So we do have some cleaning supplies in our warehouse. We obviously have worked with our schools and have had at least, I think, 3 notifications, including we had another conference call with all our principals last night to stress upon them that we need to make sure that they have supplies. If they're short, they need to let us know so we can have it delivered. Yeah, at some point we would run out, so we do have orders for supplies that we've placed. So we expect to get more supplies, but we know that may be a challenge as we go throughout the country. But as at this moment, we have sufficient supplies for cleaning of our schools and promoting.
Backup plan if you don't get the supplies that you need because
We'll address that. I don't see that for the foreseeable time frame that we have over the next few weeks. So I think we should be fine until then. But if we run into a challenge, we'll work to figure out how we can get around that and address that issue and get a hold of supplies.
You have weeks worth of supplies.
Yes, we have weeks of supplies at the schools and in our warehouse.
Mr. Rossi, do you have, you mentioned sports being canceled after Monday. What about music, debate, all the things that happen after school? All after-school activities are canceled?
Yes, we've canceled all after-school activities effective as of Monday. That is correct.
What do you tell all those kids who basically live for those activities, who come to school for those activities?
Yeah, well, that's a key thing. We want the kids to live and we want them to be healthy, so we are going to take the precautions that we need to. It's something that we, of course, wouldn't want to have happen, but safety comes first, and we have to make sure that we're taking the appropriate precautions. We see how quickly that this virus is spreading and the impact that it can have. So we have to do all we can as a school community to contain the spread and impact of this virus in our community. Our public schools have around 270,000 students in the school system, and you can imagine how many families and so forth they're connected to in our community. So what goes on here is really going to drive the temperature, if you will, of what happens in the county. So I believe at this point it's the appropriate measure for us to take. I can tell you, based on how we see things developing, we may be at a totally different situation on Monday, and not a better one relative to the continued growth of this virus. So I believe that we just need to set expectations and give people advance warning of where we believe we're going to be.
Superintendent, the governor of Ohio just announced that they're going to close schools for 3 weeks there.
Yes.
Can you talk about your thought process on not closing schools, why you decided not to close them at this point?
One, we don't have any confirmed cases in our schools at this point, either student or employees. So we don't see a need to do that at the present moment. Again, that could change, right, depending on what happens as we monitor this situation on a daily basis. As you know, next week, I believe we have about 3 full days of school before we move into spring break. So we'll see if we can get through that, and then we'll have a good period of downtime within the district. My communications with our state education department and leadership is that there isn't any sense from them that they will release any such declaration to close schools in the state of Florida.
So that means it would have to come from
It wouldn't necessarily have to come from them, but look, closing a school or an entire district has enormous ramifications. It has impacts on the economy. It has impacts on the healthcare system. I had a conversation last night just with one of the healthcare leaders who wants to make sure that we properly advise them what we're going to do, because if we close schools, some of their healthcare workers may need to stay home to take care of their kids, further impacting this county's community to address this issue. So there's lots of ramifications to it. It's not a decision we would take lightly, and it is my approach is to do it and with some degree of collaboration with our municipalities, our healthcare providers, and other agencies. Yes, we'll make the call, but we'll make sure that we're properly prepared to do that.
If it came to the point you had to go to shut down even a short amount of time, you have
Yes.
all the resources like computers for students, and you have everything that they would need to work from home?
I would say that we have resources to address the needs of some portion of the students. If the entire district were to shut down, I can't sit here and say we would be able to provide every student a computer. We would make sure all students had access from home. We would do the best of our ability to make sure that we issue devices. We have up to well over 150,000 or more computing devices in the district. We could certainly put a plan in place, and staff is actually working on that, where we would distribute devices on an as-needed basis to folks. And of course, I mentioned the different platforms that we use. So yes, computers would be one, but we will also provide lesson packets and other resources. And then we have, Beacon, which is our local public television unit that's run by the district. We'll try to see what we can do to enhance educational programming opportunities there. But it's not going to be the same as when we have students in school in front of our outstanding teachers that we have in this district. So that's not an ideal situation, but we'll try to accommodate it as much as possible.
The families that paid for school trips that
Yes.
aren't happening, will they get reimbursed?
So what we've told those families, what we've told families is that we will work very aggressively with the vendors that do business with the district, and we will put pressure on them to make sure that they're going to do their best to refund and or reimburse our families for the costs that they've incurred for trips that have been canceled. Can't guarantee how that will turn out, but I will tell you that we're going to do our best to make sure they do right by our families.
During the break, are you planning to do these deep cleanings in all the schools?
We're going to continue to do the cleanings that we do in schools normally, and also some of the extra cleaning that I've mentioned to you. But unless there is some particular case or situation that comes up, I don't see us doing something extraordinary relative to cleaning over the spring break.
Do the school buses present any kind of problem cleaning?
Yes, they do. I mean, we clean our buses daily. We're working to put in additional measures, and this goes back to a question that was asked before about supplies. We have to, we're looking to put additional cleaning protocols on our buses, but we've got to be able to secure supplies to do that. So we're evaluating that at the moment to see what else we can do on our buses. But they are clean. They are cleaned daily. We'd like to increase the frequency of that in terms of being able to do any kind of disinfecting techniques. Yeah.
So you have supplies for the buses, or you're looking at additional?
We have supplies in transportation that we use to clean our buses. We're trying to look at adding additional protocols for cleaning with our buses, and if we do so, we would then have to ensure that we've got adequate supplies to do that. So we need to check out both of those. But right now, we're just continuing our regular cleanings on our buses.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to Robert Runcie, the superintendent of Broward County Schools.